So how and why did you start to get into the paranormal?
Well, that's a good question. And honestly, it was truly just a natural, gradual progression because I wanted to understand psychic abilities. I volunteered at a new age bookstore. I started taking classes. I started getting involved in the psychic community. So obviously, the paranormal community is just a part of that. So paranormal for me was really just another way of exploring these experiences,
Right.
meeting with other people who are having the same experiences, right? Because when a client contacts you, I learn from their experiences, right?
Right.
I mean, it's that other dimension. So
Mhm.
it was just another branch for me,
Right.
truthfully. Yeah.
Excellent. So, what is your methodology and or specialty then, um, in your paranormal work? What would you consider your specialty,
Um,
or like your modality? I guess. Like
yeah.
how?
Yeah. We talked about this when we were talking with you about your modality, and you had kind of
Right.
highlighted how you're like the last resort, right?
Right. Right.
You're
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one where I've tried everything, I've done all of this, and it's like nothing else is working. I just need someone to help me clear and remove this issue. So you kind of consider yourself a last resort. I see myself as the first resort.
Yeah. That's funny. It's true
um,
though.
it so because when people are having experiences, it's difficult to be objective. It was hard for me to be objective, right? So we
Yeah.
all need assistance from someone. How do we pull out what's psychic, what's spiritual, what's very plausible explanations? What does science say about this? And so I want to be that first resource for people to say, let's look at your experiences, let's break them down, let's see how we can understand them. Let's dismiss the ones that might have very normal rational explanations that we've maybe misappropriated, because I misappropriated experiences all the time during my psychic opening, right?
Right. Right.
They blur, you know, our fears, our beliefs, our misperceptions. Those can all come into play when you have
Hmm.
someone that's objective at the the paranormal level. You can go, okay, let's step back and let's look at these. But I'm also have had those psychic experiences, those spiritual experiences. So I'm a believer, and I think that that's very important as well, because you get some paranormal investigators, they're not convinced, they don't believe it, so they're very skeptical of psychic experiences. And
Right.
so
There's kind of like two different ways to approach it. It's either like, the total, let's debunk everything, or the total, we believe in everything.
absolutely. No, no, no. That's right. And I think you need the balance of all of those things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So not to belabor it, but honestly, if somebody's reaching out to me, that's the place I'm going to go. Let's look at the experiences. Let's talk about them. Let's highlight those. Let's pull out the ones and figure out which ones go into which category. Plausible, psychic. If they're psychic, what type of psychic experiences are they? Is it interactive, right? Is there really consciousness present, or is it just like a recording, which we call a haunting?
Hmm.
Is the living person creating the scenario? We talk about that a lot, because
Yeah.
how much of what we're experiencing is actually a result of our own energy and our own intentions. And
Hmm.
so it's about sorting those things out, removing fear, figuring out what the client is best for them,
Right.
and then giving them the resources to move forward. I don't clear, I don't remove. I'm more of an educational resource, that
But that does
objectivity.
help so much. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
No,
I
that
hope
helps.
so.
Yeah. Well, because in the end, that's what I end up having to do anyways, is kind of like redirect them to more of what you're talking about, which is,
The
um,
education part, right?
yeah, I was going to say kind of the more just logical side of it. Um, so
Because you're right. I mean, and we've talked about this before, they have to be a part of the solution. I can't always, I can't make you psychic. I can't explain these things. I can give you options, I can give you resources and help you work through it and be that for you.
right,
Um, but ultimately, the person is the one that's going to have to deal with that in the long run.
right, right. Which is putting the power back in their hands when you give them all that.
Right. Which is the
juicy
same thing that
information.
you're doing too, because there is a lot of education that goes on. And I will do psychic work and mediumship when I'm working a paranormal case, if and when the time is appropriate, right? If I'm moving into a home, what do I perceive psychically? That's as important as not being psychic and just being the observer.
Right.
So I wear a lot of different hats depending on what that moment calls for, because I don't think it's fair if I have the ability to read the energy of the space or the person to go, well, I'm not going to be psychic because I'm the investigator today. That's just another aspect to bring to the table.
Right.
So there's a lot of different aspects to play. And then of course the parapsychology and the science, and that's why I'm such an advocate for that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more today, which I didn't really add until later on.